This is a story about Arthur, the big tank engine, based on the railway series by the Reverend Wilbert Vere Audrey, and read aloud by me, VHS and Story Uploader 89 Lives. This is a story about Arthur, a proud tank engine. He arrived on the island of Sodor with a spotless record, but soon found himself in a sticky situation. Arthur, the big tank engine, had just arrived on the island of Sodor. It was his first day at work on the Fat Controller's Railway. I must be on time, Arthur worried as he chuffed through the countryside. He didn't want to be late. Right on time, smiled the Fat Controller. This is Arthur. He will help you shunt trucks and pull freight. Nice to meet you, said Arthur politely. And he's got a spotless record, the Fat Controller added.
What's a spotless record? Whispered Percy. It means he's never done anything naughty or made a mess,
Thomas frowned. At Brendam Docks, the three engines were soon working together. Thomas and Percy knew that they weren't supposed to bump the trucks, but it was such fun.
Join in, Arthur!
laughed Thomas.
No, thank you,
said Arthur quietly. He didn't want to spoil his spotless record. Arthur's first job was to push a line of trucks to the market. He coupled up behind the trucks, which were loaded up with crates of fruit. The trucks, though, were not behaving themselves and sang rude songs to tease Arthur. Fruit toot tall, come on, let's go. The fruit's goldy moldy because you're too slow.
How rude,
huffed Arthur. The trucks singing gave Thomas a naughty idea.
The Fat Controller doesn't like the trucks to sing, said Thomas. You must tell them to stop. Thank you, Thomas, said Arthur. I will.
Arthur puffed steadily out of the docks.
Ha ha! The trucks will cause trouble for Arthur if they're not allowed to sing!
laughed Thomas. Arthur was chuffing cheerfully through the countryside when the trucks began to sing again. Chug, chug, chuff, you tug and you puff, but you're too slow, you've got no puff.
No singing, said Arthur firmly. It may be my first day, but I won't fall for your tricks.
The troublesome trucks are cross. You'll blimey if Arthur won't let us sing, one truck whispered.
We'll have to teach him a lesson, you know,
chimed the others. The troublesome trucks put on their brakes and made their wheels screech and squeak along the tracks. Arthur struggled over bridges and huffed and puffed through tunnels. When poor Arthur puffed up to the top of Gordon's Hill, the trucks whooshed down the other side, laughing all the way. Suddenly, Arthur's driver spotted a red signal at the bottom of the hill. He put on the brakes, but Arthur couldn't stop in time. Fruits of all shapes and sizes from the troublesome trucks flew into the air and landed splat, splot, splat all over Arthur. Arthur was terribly sad. It was his first day at the Fat Controller's Railway, and his spotless record was ruined. Soon the Fat Controller arrived. "What has happened here?" he said crossly.
The trucks were singing, said Arthur. I told them to stop, but they pushed me too fast. Please, sir, it's my fault, said Thomas sadly, and he told the Fat Controller what he had done.
Arthur, your record is still spotless, and it's fruitless for me to say more, the Fat Controller said, but Thomas, you must clear up this mess at once. Soon Harvey arrived with the breakdown train and lifted Arthur back onto the rails. Oh, there you go, Arthur! Thomas stayed behind to help the workmen clear the track. It took a very long time to clear up the sticky mess. By the time Thomas puffed slowly home, it was dark. When Thomas arrived back at Tidmouth Sheds, Arthur's crew had cleaned the squash fruit from his funnel. Arthur looked spotless and sparkled from buffer to dome.
I'm sorry I played a trick on you,
said Thomas.
That's all right, said Arthur. Thank you for telling the truth. Well, I never had a spotless record to ruin,
smiled Thomas. From that moment, the engines knew they would become the very best of friends.